Hey guys, Khalid Ali here, making this video to talk you through how I solved an issue with my 2011 Toyota Highlander with some water pooling in the car by the driver's feet as well as by the passenger's feet. At first didn't know what the heck it was, and then finally figured out that it was an issue with my sunroof not draining properly. So I had a very difficult time figuring out the problem and figuring out what exactly the problem was and how to fix it. Certainly benefited a lot from other folks out there posting videos and information about their own challenges with the problem, and definitely helped me eventually figure out how to solve my own problem. So I figured I would pay it forward and make this video and share with you what I ended up learning, and hopefully this is useful to somebody else out there. Alright, so not a lot of people know, and I certainly did not know either until I ran into this issue, but sunroofs have drains to allow water that seeps in from the crevices here to drain out under the car. So if you look down in here, you see a little hole. Yep, that's a drain. There's one on the passenger side, and then two in the back as well. So normally what should happen is that whatever the water, let's say from rain or from a car wash, seeps in, goes in through that hole. There's a hose connected behind it. That hose goes under the headliner, down this pillar, down the windshield pillar, goes in under the dashboard, and then the water eventually comes out under here. So on the driver's side, from right behind the driver's side wheel, on the passenger side, from right behind the passenger side wheel, and then the same thing in the back. But sometimes that does not work like it's supposed to, so which is what happened in my case. Basically, what I had going on was this. Here on the driver's side of my Highlander, under the mat, I had a whole bunch of water just pooling here. I mean, it was soaking wet. I ended up, using towels to just dry it off, but the pooling kept happening again and again. So a friend of mine suggested that the issue could be the sunroof not draining properly. So the way you can check whether it's actually a sunroof that's the cause, the issue, is by pouring some water down in here where the drain is, which is what I'm about to do. So you'll see it go down that drain hole. And then check the bottom to see if it comes out the bottom. And see, right now it is coming out the bottom because I've already cleaned it out. But had it not been coming out, then you would know that there is some issue with your sunroof drain hole not draining properly. So we tried a whole bunch of different things, blew air through the hose with the intent to push out whatever the gunk was in there, if that was a problem, to just blow it out of the bottom. That didn't quite work. Tried using a cable wire to see if I could just push out whatever was in there. Again, didn't really work. It would work for a little bit, but then soon enough, next big rain, and I would have water pooling inside the car again. Eventually ended up taking it to the dealership, and they charged me $150. Basically, they just blew air through the hose again. Again, didn't solve the problem. And that's when I had to decide, either to roll the Highlander off of a cliff or roll up my sleeves and fix the problem myself. So the problem is that the water is not actually being drained directly out of the car. It is being dropped, via the hose that we saw earlier into the fender area behind this piece of plastic. And even if I remove this, you won't be able to see it because it's inside the fender. So if the hose is clean, which in my case it was, the issue is with the drain pan, in other words, where the water is being dropped. The problem is that that area is not clean. That's gotten clogged up over time, and that's what we'll see in the videos in a bit. That's where I realized that what was happening was that water was pooling inside of that area and then eventually overflowing into the cabin and going under the carpet, and that's what was creating the pooling. So unfortunately, there's, as far as I know, no way to actually get into that area. So luckily I've got this little micro camera, and I use this to look inside of that fender area, and that's when I realized what exactly the issue was. This right here is the water that just leaked out because it overflowed from the inside of the fender. Kind of hard to see here because of the sun. There you go. There's the water. So I got this wire cable from Home Depot. Basically, you can cut off any length that you want, and I got about 8 feet of this. And it's this metal inside, covered with this plastic. The intent was that when I used it for the drain hole, trying to see if I could just push out any clogs that were inside of the hose, it wouldn't scratch up the inside of the hose. And then eventually I ended up using this as a scrub, as a brush, and it was convenient that I could just peel off some of the blue plastic and use it as a brush. Still here.
Man, doing the detail job here, aren't you?
Not because I want to.
Is that what you're doing?
No. Fixing something.
Oh. Oh.
Leaky sunroof is leaking.
I have a lot of issues with
It turns out that Toyota Highlanders are known for this issue, so mine was no exception, unfortunately.